What isolation does to the human brain. Humans are among the most social creatures on Earth. For thousands of years, survival depended heavily on staying connected to groups, families, and communities. Isolation was often dangerous. Being completely alone could reduce chances of survival dramatically. Even today, the human brain still reacts strongly to loneliness and separation. But what actually happens when humans experience long-term isolation? And why can complete isolation become psychologically disturbing so quickly? Today we're exploring what isolation does to the human brain and why loneliness may affect humans far more deeply than most people realize. At first, short-term isolation may seem peaceful. Silence can feel calming. Being alone may reduce stress and distraction temporarily. But over time, the brain begins responding differently. Humans evolved to constantly process social interaction, facial expressions, communication, and environmental stimulation. When those systems disappear, psychological effects can begin developing surprisingly quickly. Another disturbing reality is sensory deprivation. In isolated environments, the brain receives less external stimulation. Without enough social or environmental input, some people begin experiencing anxiety, emotional instability, distorted thinking, and difficulty concentrating. Another terrifying possibility involves time perception. People isolated for long periods often lose track of time more easily. Without regular routines, sunlight exposure, or social interaction, the brain's internal rhythms can become disrupted. Another unsettling example comes from solitary confinement studies. Researchers studying prolonged isolation observed serious psychological effects in some individuals. Symptoms may include depression, paranoia, panic, emotional breakdown, and hallucinations. Humans are not biologically designed for complete long-term isolation. Another frightening reality involves Antarctic research stations. Scientists spending months isolated in extreme environments often report unusual psychological stress. Darkness, confinement, and separation from the outside world can create intense emotional pressure over time. Another disturbing example involves space missions. Astronauts living in confined environments for extended periods face unique psychological challenges. Future missions to Mars may require humans to endure isolation for months or even years far from Earth. Researchers continue studying how long-term isolation affects mental health and decision-making. Another terrifying possibility is how isolation changes emotional processing. Loneliness can increase stress hormones and negatively affect mood over time. Some studies suggest chronic isolation may even influence physical health and cognitive performance. Another unsettling truth is that humans often underestimate how important social interaction truly is. Modern civilization allows people to communicate digitally more than ever before. Yet many people still experience intense loneliness despite constant online connection. Another disturbing realization is how quickly the brain searches for stimulation during isolation. In environments lacking activity or interaction, the mind may begin creating its own patterns, fears, or imagined social presence. Humans naturally seek meaning, connection, and stimulation. Another frightening reality is that extreme isolation has historically been used as punishment. Throughout history, solitary confinement often produced severe psychological distress. This demonstrates how deeply humans depend on social interaction for emotional stability. Another unsettling possibility is that modern lifestyles may unintentionally increase psychological isolation. Remote work, digital communication, urban loneliness, and reduced face-to-face interaction may affect mental health in ways researchers are still studying. Another disturbing truth is that loneliness itself may trigger survival instincts inside the brain. Humans evolved in groups for protection. Isolation may subconsciously signal danger even when no immediate threat exists. The truth is that the human brain was never designed to exist completely alone for long periods of time. And somewhere beneath modern civilization, ancient survival instincts still shape how humans experience loneliness itself. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more difficult topics simply explained. And comment whether you think humans could truly remain psychologically healthy in complete isolation for years.